In this video what we're going to do is look at modifying some of the existing parts. One of the first parts we're going to look at is a gear. So one of the gears from the existing CAD library that you have available to you is the 60 tooth gear. So if you click on open, locate the 60 tooth gear and open that file up. Now, just to explain a couple of things about the existing parts. First of all, on the left hand side you have the iMates, and the iMates are the features that allow you to snap assemblies together. So they're some of the features that will kick in during an assembly stage. We have the base part, as you can see here, base 1, and if we were to expand the extrusion we'd see that effectively this model has been surface modelled, so it's not something that's very easy to then look back at and to modify. For example, it's not made up of consistent extrusions and cuts and revolves. However, the part is available to add and subtract material from, because it's still now technically a solid part, and it has a number of features that allow us to do this. For example, on the left hand side under origin we have the X, Y and Z planes and the X, Y and Z axes. So each of these allow us to produce sketches and allow us to revolve things. If we look at these two work planes that are featured here, click on this view cube on the top right corner and we can drag around and see that a couple of work planes have been created as well, which could help us to sketch a model. One of the things I'm going to do here is right click on those work planes and just untick their visibility to just clear up the view that I've got at the moment, and now I can look at the product properly. Now this part would 3D print absolutely no problem at all. We can see that if we were to 3D print on the bed, this piece extrudes down below the surface, so then we'd have a large amount of support material just sitting underneath to allow it to 3D print. And at the moment it's just an existing part, so it just replicates one of the injection molded parts that we already have. What we're going to do here is just do some very simple things to just modify this part for an alternative 3D printed part. So we can create in the top left corner on the ribbon a 2D sketch. Now there's lots of different things that we could select on to do our sketch. We could click onto the surfaces, so we have numerous surfaces here, including this top edge here if we wanted to modify some of the existing features. We could click onto this surface here, or even the internal one. So for example, if we want to actually modify this section here, we click on here and then it will rotate through to a 2D view. We also have on the left hand side the origins, so we can actually choose the YZ plane, the XZ plane and the XY plane, and again we might like to sketch onto these, especially considering some of the planes intersect straight through the middle of the various different parts of this design. In this instance what we're actually going to do is we're going to choose this middle plane, the XY plane, and just select on that. Now this actually gives us opportunity to sketch right along the cross section here. I'm just going to rotate this round to the 2D view, and what we can do is we can sketch some kind of design feature onto this. What this design feature is completely up to you. So for example we might decide to sketch a series of additional extrusions. Now you'll notice that as I draw this circle I've managed to snap to the existing circle that is already featured here. And if I just click away from this momentarily, each of these pieces of line work are things that we can snap to. So if there are certain features you want to continue on from or to modify around, we can actually snap to these and use those as reference points. We can also up here project geometry, and under project geometry we have project cut edges. Now again we can use these to actually make the geometry appear available, and here in yellow line work we can actually see what we actually have to snap onto on the very surface that we're working on at that time. What I'm going to do here is just very quickly model a couple of circles, the first one here and the next one there. Now if you're drawing your line work and you're actually working on a datum plane or a surface that actually sits inside the physical product, you can press F7 and it will do a slice of the product, removing the material that's in your way, and now you can see that I can see my line work quite happily, also all the cut projected edges as well. So I can continue my line work, and again all this will probably end up looking like green line work because we're not working parametrically yet. If we set dimensions to each of these we will have some parametric modelling going on. All I'm going to do for now is produce those two pairs of holes. I'm going to select extrude, and what I'm looking to do here is to select the parts that I want to extrude, which is going to be this part here, and the corresponding one on the other side. And because we're sketching onto the centre plane, the one that intersects right down the middle of the part, I'm actually going to modify the extrusion so it goes in both directions, and I can naturally drag this out to a useful distance, and I can even type it in here, so I could say 50mm is what I want to extrude to. Tick that, and then I have my 3D extrusion, and I've modified this part now. What it does is up for debate at the moment, but what I have done is managed to add additional material to this. I could also then continue to model on top of this. So for example, if I take a sketch, I could sketch onto this surface here, and again maybe what I want to do this time is I want to just sketch a few bits of line work that are going to kind of match the current product. Finish the sketch in a second. Let's just add a few more holes. Finish the sketch, and then I could choose to extrude this one as well. And again, maybe I want to do this just 2mm, which would be a good amount to 3D print. And now I have some kind of side plate, perhaps a mounting system for a motor, who knows. But I've managed to modify the existing part by adding material. I can also remove material, not only from the additional part that I've modelled and added, but also from the existing design. So let's say I wanted to create a 2D sketch onto this surface, and I decide actually I want to remove a large amount of material here. I'm just going to draw a simple sketch onto the surface, choose to extrude, and I'm going to pull it through all of the material and all the parts. Make sure it's selecting to cut rather than to extrude, and click OK. And what I've done now is I've managed to remove both my new material and my existing material from the part that I have. What this part does and what it's designed to do functionally is completely up to you. If I just open up very quickly an example of another part I've done, this part here is a gear that's been modified to take two sections out, so it actually removes 50% of the teeth of this gear. And if this gear was attached to a motor and then there were subsequent gears attached along in a gear chain, what would the function be? How would it change? How would it make the robot react differently? And these are the things where modifying existing parts might get you to think very differently about how your robots function. Have a play with the gears, have a play with some of the tools such as the sketching and the extrusion, and see what you can produce.